Hello, and welcome to today's stream. I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully the audio sounds good because I have had to play around with it because I have got a new audio input. So hopefully the mic sounds okay. It may eliminate some of the crackle because I think the crackle that we were getting previously was somehow related to the mic. I have just noticed that my mouth is not moving. Okay, and check something here, as I added some logging and we did this. So if I just hide and bring up console, log reports, player.log. It's just called microphone. Okay, it's not called external microphone, so that is why. So we will have to fix that at some point and get my mouth working again. But yeah, I had to play around a bit with the microphone. Because the port on the back of my Mac is, well, it's a lot louder. I think that's because it's a high impedance port, whereas the one I've got is just a USB-C to both headphone out and mic in. So it probably doesn't have as much like built-in power. So it's a bit quieter, so I've had to throw some gain on, but I think it sounded quite good in the test that I did, so yeah. Hopefully you find it all okay. So, today we are going to be working on Streamline. And then maybe a little bit on, well, this place after. I have been starting some remodeling. Console's getting some buttons and all that mess over in the corner. This bit here. All of this. That is getting changed because it's a bit of an ugly mess, so I'm cleaning that up a bit, and hopefully it should make it a bit easier for when I start UV unwrapping stuff to, well, texture. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff about to go on, and yes, I'm also considering changing up changing up my stream schedule. So at the moment I stream every Monday, and technically the schedule is 2 till 5 on a Monday. Well, I usually do beyond that, and then it's either 2 till 5 every other Friday, and then 2 till 4 every other Saturday. Now the problem is that I have contract work in between there, and then I have days off and stuff like that, and I'm in a sort of a rut where I don't have the ability to get into a groove. To say, okay, I've got this block of so many days where I am able to work on something. It's always, I've got a day, and then I've got some days where I'm not working and not doing streaming, and I need to get stuff done around the house, and I somehow still always end up without any time to actually do a proper job. Like, I've got a wall that needs painting in my house, and I just haven't been able to get around to it. And various other things that I just haven't been able to get around to. Stuff like washing my car, because I need to do various bits around the house. So what I'm thinking of doing is changing things up. So the Friday streams are going to go away, and when I have that every other Friday off, I'm going to use that to either relax, get stuff done around the house, do stuff like prepping for the D&D game that I run, and also getting these bigger jobs done. But what I will then do is I will be streaming Saturday, Sunday and Monday afternoons. So Saturday and Sunday will probably be something like 1 till 4. and then Monday will be something like 1 till 5, 1 till 6-ish, sometime around there. So yeah, that would be the plan, because then I get a Saturday, a Sunday, and a Monday when I can just focus on something and get into something a bit better. Like, I'll still keep the Wednesday evening streams because I like those playing around with some other stuff, but I think for actually getting work done, I think Saturday, Sunday and Monday makes a lot more sense because it's consistent every week and it gives me 3 days, 3 solid days which I can do stuff, which will hopefully help me get into the groove. And then I'll have that Friday where every other week I'll finish contracting and then I'll have a day off, and that day I can use to do whatever I like, which will be pretty fantastic because there's so many things that I just want to get done. And I'm getting into a routine of Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning just do regular jobs around the house, because if I can get that done, then I'm like, rather than having a full day where I do jobs around the house, I split it up over the 3 days, and that just makes it go a lot easier because I only have to spend a few hours each day and I get it all done. So yeah, it's always a lot better making small changes and finding patterns that work. But I think this is something that I'm going to try. So I'm going to be streaming today, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow and on Monday, and then this coming Friday I probably will not be streaming. So I will probably be updating my schedule possibly after the stream. So yeah, that will be quite fun. And it also gives me the Friday if I do need to do some work that I can't show on stream on my projects, which isn't that much. Usually it's anything that would deal with like user data or any sort of like private stuff that is not meant to be released. I can do that off stream. But yeah, so hopefully that will give me a bit more to get done. So yeah, let's move over and get to it. Hi Kieran, how are you doing today? And how are you since then? I mean, it seems since you've been following around the many streams that I've been on all today so far. I was originally like, I woke up and it's like, oh, I'll see who's streaming. Oh, Gwilym's streaming, and then it's like, oh, Inoki's streaming. I never get to see an Inoki stream because he usually streams when I'm fast asleep. So yeah, that was quite a fun stream. So let's get into this. And oh, what's that? I'm not showing stuff I'm not meant to show. I'm showing the correct stuff. Fantastic. So let's increase our font size so that you can see what is going on. Okay, so what we got done on Wednesday wasn't like a massive amount, but it was significant. So we've got it where, for example, if I sort these by album and then I quit and then I relaunch, it's persisted that. It also persists the volume. So I set the volume to about 75% and quit, relaunch, it'll save the volume and it sets it up down there. So all of this saving stuff is done. So what that means, if we head over to here, is that we can now start picking what we want to do next. And what we want to do next is some of these stream and scenes views, because we want to actually start playing stuff using streams and scenes. So we're going to create the basics for the. Well, actually, I realize I need to add a ticket. Well, add playlist. Hash. So that's the first thing we're going to have to. At the moment, there's no way to create a stream. So you move. Do we want it into sidebar headers? Because the thing is, got the collapsing. You know what, let's go old school Mac and shove them down the bottom. Coppice. As yeah, we have it down the bottom here, so let's add it down the bottom. Where did that go? Oh, it's still there. Add the button down bottom. A bar. Bottom of the bar. Adding. So we move and then we want that to go to scene grid is going to go to then we're going to want to have edit scene property. Okay. So, in fact, let's bring up this, and we want to change this. So we are sidebar add button. Good. Edit. Okay, let's have a look. Fine. Slipped into the same periphery. Yeah. Just finishing some Blender and about to hop into Unreal after a little break. That's good to hear. And Sinister also been blendering most this evening, so yeah. Blender is quite a relaxing thing to do a lot of the time, so no, I have to say I am very excited that I now have somewhere to talk with people about various stream related stuff. Let's visualize that. If you go beyond the width, then these sides end early, but if you actually go down below, it does flip into the full width. Learn something new every day. Right, let's get rid of this plus button and add plus button down there. So, getting rid of the plus button is fairly easy because we want our toolbar. New playlist item. Right. New playlist. Right. that. That. Build and run. That should hopefully now no longer appear. And it is gone. So I've been doing that. In fact, let me show you both while you're here. I will just quickly show you what I've been doing on the ship interior. So I've been basically remodeling all of this corner. So if I just quickly go and show you what it currently looks like. Can you see how it it curves around at the top, but then you get all this weird blocking, and this is because I've got polygons like I should be able to move my mouse down here so you can see it. So can you see this block here? That is just a straight polygon, but because it's sort of twisted, it puts it into having lines in, so you get all this weird stuff where you get all these triangles and everything. So the way I have gone and changed it, if we go back into here, if I zoom in, I've basically given me straight panels up, and then I've got a straight line here where all of these just join in. So all the complex side of line, like getting these to line up so I don't get that, it's all shoved into this corner here where it's a bit easier and where I can put stuff over. And then at the top I have these things going along the top, which it should hopefully end up being a much better solution, because again these, and that is a bit, so I may need to tweak that a bit, but the idea is to keep these fairly limited. It's not a normals issue, Kieran, because all the normals are correct. The issue is, like, if I line that up, can you see how this face here is twisted a bit? I'm probably going to have to bring that in. I want it to be a nice square, because that is slightly twisted. The problem is that this is sort of a curve that I want to get into a straight thing here, and it is kind of awkward to do. So I've not tried to get this bit to go in, it sort of just would continue around. And it's basically, there is a wall there, which if I go like that, that is fairly straight, and then you just get a few triangles here, which should be alright. But yeah, it's just like I need to, like, probably need to grab that. That seems a bit straight, and then I can straighten this one up. That looks less twisted. Yeah, any suggestions are great. Yeah, I think the thing that's really like got me I think the thing that really got me is building the outside first and trying to fit the inside in, and now it's at the point where it's just like just get the inside correct and I can change the outside to fit that. So what might help is zeroing out the face on the z-axis relative to the face is normal. I've got the face. If I transform it on the normal, just do a G. Wow, now. Oh, it's isn't scale. Wrong. Yeah, SZ0, but if I select face, S. Huh. Ah! Okay, so that is flattening that out. Sort of. What I probably. Oh, actually, copy that. So those bits twisting matters, which they don't seem to be. So yeah, that seems to have fixed it. Anyway, we'll work some more on that later. Right now we want to get our add button added in here. So, I had not realised I'd been looking around that whole time. Anyway, thank you very much for that suggestion, Kieran. That helped. So, the Loop Tools add-on. I don't believe I do. Preference. or add. I do not. Okay. So that is enabled. So what does that do? Because if I've got a cube here, what sort of stuff does loot tools give me? Yeah. Yeah, because if I drag that out, and that like that, we've got our twisted polygon there. Okay, so if I select that, right click, loop tools, flatten. Oh. Okay. I can just put them all and... Oop, no, we don't want to do that. Okay, so that was a very useful tip, and it by the sounds of it, Kieran's learnt something too. So honestly, when you first start using Blender, it seems completely opaque and overwhelming, but then you get past the initial hurdle and everything just starts making a lot of sense, and it's just like, okay, well, I'll learn this new little thing and this new little thing, and it's like, once you've got the core principles in place and you know what you're doing with basic modeling, then it's just learning all the tools that make it a lot easier to do things. Like, okay, you're going to learn how to scale stuff, to move stuff, and to rotate stuff. Okay, now you know how to use Blender. Let's now learn all of the tools that make it so that you don't need to move, scale, or rotate things. You just use these tools to learn it all. So what I'm currently doing is slowly building up my list of Stream Deck actions, so that I don't have to remember all the different hotkeys and stuff. I've got like toggle shading and apply rotation scale, move to collection, join, merge vertices. But then you get some, this one I use a lot for parenting, because it's Command P and then O to parent to object. Well, what I can do is just select it and hit that, and it will do a Command P and then an O, and it will actually bring up what I need. Oh, I've got the donut tutorial. I've been through a lot of that. Enough to get to where I need to be to bring stuff into Unity. Right, where is our source list? Actually quite a nice colour gradient on that. Yeah, ever since I got this new Mac, I haven't actually changed it from some of the default like the built-in backgrounds. Right, let's take this and have a look at the side. Right, these are going to want to be -1. On -1 because oh my god. They've finally done it. They finally added a minimap to Interface Builder. One second, I must tweet about this. I'm being just completely blind for you. I have Apple only added well, that is something I not expecting. Edit. So you've got a minimap there. Maybe it has been. I know they added the minimap for code because if I go there, I can enable a minimap there. Though the minimap is not particularly useful to me. But I haven't seen it in Interface Builder before. Anyway, so what I want to do is get the scroll view. I mean, they have been updating Interface Builder because all these are new icons in Xcode 14. So, right. So what I want to do is the reason we moved all those to be -1 is so I can stick a border on, and then this here, we will set it. I'm going to set it to 32 for now, because what I want to do is open Coppice. Source list view. Oh, that has to be new. There's no way I would have not that. In fact, we're going to copy that. Alright, so the question, have I set this up? I've set a fixed height. It's 24. Okay. Song. This song is from Purple Planet. It is called Respawn. So I want to add I can see. Oh. And then yeah, I want to that. And with 0, 0, 0. That is going to go 0, 4. And that everything should be good. Okay, so in here we don't want page. And stream. And Phyllis. Okay. That is on. That's up. Playlist. On. Streamline icon. Oh. Do I need to something off from Coppice? Ross. Copy. Now this should work. Does it any I brought my core. Oh no, I haven't put my core graphics extensions over. Need those are incredibly useful. Okay. This is such a good song. Anyway, so what I've planned for the overlay, but I would love geometry in those. Literally just maths and programming logic to create things based off a mesh's geometry. Yeah, I've seen some stuff around geometry nodes. I'm not sure quite how useful they'd be for anything on the overlay. But yeah, it's definitely something I'd like to learn at some point. I mean, there's lots of things in Blender that would be cool to learn that would not be that useful for the overlay. But Blender is far more useful beyond just bringing stuff into Unity. So, I mean, my current plans for the overlays, I want to get some texture on the walls and the floors. And then probably hook up, like do some more desktop themes, I'm calling them, for the face on my bot. And once that's done, then I'll be hooking stuff up to Twitch, where I'll be doing stuff such as being able to change the desktop theme. See, I think the initial ones would change the desktop theme, throw bugs at me, and yeah, not sure what else I was going to do. I do want to have something which changes the lights, but I need to get the lighting set up, so that may not be the first pass. Oh yes, raiding. I want to get the the raid system working. So yeah, it's sort of textures, then more textures for my face, and then Twitch is the plan for the overlay. So, but yeah, at some point once the overlay's in a good place, I'll be playing around with Blender. I've also downloaded DaVinci Resolve because realizing, oh, one of the 3 major like editing programs that a lot of creators use is a free download, and it's also supposedly the fastest one of the 3. Is that, oh, I can actually do some video editing now without having to splash out some money, so I need to learn that at some point because I think it has motion graphics stuff built in as well, so I want to do some stuff with that, and there's so much I want to do, so and I've actually had quite a productive morning as well. I managed to do some tidying around the house, water the plants, mow the lawn, weed the front garden, so I'm feeling quite productive today. Right, so we got that in. Coppice, bring it across. So we can click, and we've got new stream and new playlist. So I create a stream. Now see a stream there, and I've clicked new playlist. We get a new playlist. Fantastic. So now that we have that done, let us commit this. Okay. Alright, so that is done. Right, the basic of the stream view, we want the switch view, toolbar at the top, toggle switch between scenes and display views. So let's open up Photoshop and have a look at what we're going to be in. Where is it? Huh? Get rid of editing. So we want to have this toolbar up here, and when you switch between these, it needs to swap out the stuff at this side, because I think yeah, so this is going to be a sort of a toolbar here, so we want that to swap out. When that changes, that is going to stay in place. We want this anyway, so we can actually ignore this bit for now. Possibly. Yeah, we'll ignore it for now. And we'll just have it where you're up here and it's showing the stream name. And then you can switch between streams and playback display. So we want this structured. Got the stream view. So we're gonna have that, but then inside it there's going to be scenes and playback display. So let's create some groups. File. I want to go all the way down here. VM controller. And it is okay. And playback display editor. So this is a custom template I've created for doing the basics of view model stuff. So it creates the nib, it creates a view controller, but it also creates a view model, because normally you just get a view controller and a view. So what this does is the view model is, from a programming perspective, this is a pattern where you have, in fact, because this is actually quite interesting if you don't know programming, learning how exactly things like this are structured. So, let's see if I go across to here. This up, and then is it going to display? Okay. There's that. Why is game screen? Oh, it's not iPad screen, it's iPad that I want. Do they have to be visible? Games. No, that's a bug in there. Oh, that's annoying. Anyway, gee, where's with the sidebar? So why won't it work with the that one? Anyway, it is up. So, little lesson in how an app is structured. So, at the top layer, this is sort of a traditional way of doing it. You have your view. Down here, you have your model. So the view is all the UI stuff, your buttons and windows and all stuff like that. And your model is the data. So the model for us is you have a track. you have a playlist, and you have a stream, and you have a scene, and these will have different values to them. Now the question is, how do you get the model and the view talking to one another? Well, one way to do that is you have controller. And then once every pattern, you've got your view, you've got your model, and it's determining what is in the middle. So what happens is the controller pulls stuff out of the model, puts it into the view. View relays changes, a button clicks and stuff, and the controller does stuff and then writes it back to the model. So that is all great. The problem is these get very big and do a lot of stuff, because what they end up doing is they end up containing a lot of logic, and that logic can be very tied to the view, because what you have in Coco, which is what I'm using, is something called a view controller. And what a view controller does is it initializes the view, holds reference to it, you hold reference to all the buttons and all stuff like that. And again, it basically ties, all of this is tied to your UI framework. So what can we do to change this? Well, if you have your view layer and your model layer, one thing you could do is you make your view controller, call it a VC, part of the view layer. So what this is only responsible for taking like a button press and funneling it somewhere else, take some data and funneling it up to the view. It becomes a lot simpler. And what you have in between is your view model. Now you may be saying, why do we need this view model? Well, what the view model is, if the model is the model for your app and it is sort of the data in your app as viewed in its rawest form, it is what is going to be written to disk. The view model is the model from the perspective of the actual view. So there are certain things that may not be in the model that are in the view model. For example, things that are selected. The view model also contains all of your logic. So when a button is pressed, rather than the view talking to the view controller and then the view controller doing all the action on the button, which may be like creating a new model and all stuff like that, instead the view talks to the view controller, which tells the model to do this. But the key thing is, this is your separation line, this is your UI framework, and this is all that is, like, all of this stuff is, it doesn't have to depend on your UI framework, which makes it a lot easier to test, it makes it a lot more portable, and just tidies things up a lot more. So if we just delete that, so that is why I have it set up like this. So you have a view model here, and it has a weak variable to its, in quotes, view. Now this is not a view, this is actually going to be a view controller, but again we treat the view controller in this model as part of the view layer. So rather than having a specific view controller reference, the view model speaks through a protocol, and that abstracts it away. So that means that I can put something else in using this protocol. It means that you can have a view model and you can have multiple view controllers that adopt this. Extremely rare that you will, but you can do that. The most common place is, again, testing. Your view controller then takes in a view model. It sets itself, like sets the view model, hooks up the view screen, and then it's all done. So this is basically just setting up the basics of getting all this in place. So this means that this becomes a lot simpler. So for example, our source list view controller, when the view loads, we're just controlling the outline view, and we're saying reload the data, doing some stuff here. Again, this is just view stuff, play. When we get to actually playing, what we are doing is getting a sourceless node, and then we're telling the view model, play this. Rather than going through all the logic here, we tell the view model to play this. So all the logic for how do you actually play something is in the view model, and the view model then talks to other view models and so on. What else do we have? Deleting a node again is in the view model. So the view model here, it has observation, so it will observe the model and then move stuff back and forth. And the other key thing here, the sourceless is actually a very good example of this. What is our model? Our model is playlists. Our model is streams. Well, the actual playlist view, the actual sourceless view controller, I mean, that is a that is sort of a it doesn't really want to work on those. It wants to work on something hierarchical. Because if we just have a quick look here, you've got a library group which contains libraries, a streams group that contains streams, a playlist group that contains playlists. So what I do in the view model is the view model basically converts the model into a different type of model that the view can do. So it's basically taking all the complexities out and giving it to the view. So for example, if the view wanted to display a date, and it wants to be a formatted date, one thing that a view model could do is that rather than returning a date, it formats it. And then when it gets a formatted date back, it converts it back into a raw date to be stored in the data model. So it's basically trying to do all the complexity of bringing stuff together. If, for example, something wants to display someone's full name, but you're storing it as first name, second name, so on, well, then it will combine those into a single name to display, and so on. You may have someone's date of birth, but what you want to show is someone's age. So a view model would take the date of birth from the model and do the calculation to convert it into an age. So that is how how it works. So what we do here is we convert this into into sourceless nodes. So sourceless nodes are what the view actually works on. So all the view model is doing is converting things back. Yes, One Piece, this is MVVM. Now, I may not be doing this 100% exactly how MVVM should work, but it is essentially, it's close enough. The idea is that your view model is your model transformed into what makes more sense for the view to use. So it's sort of like a translation layer, but it is also where you put a lot of your logic. So logic for deleting, logic for playing. And for example, again, this is just taking sourceless nodes. So the actual view side of things doesn't need to care about, is this a playlist, is this a stream, what is this? That is all handled by the view model. And the key thing with the view model is, again, it does not technically need to rely on the UI framework. It is all, like, the whole idea is that the UI talks into this. So it is not dependent upon a button existing. It abstracts that away, which makes it a lot easier to test. I mean, I've used this extensively in Coppice, so that when you have, if I open up Coppice again, view sample. So this entire layout system here where I'm clicking and dragging and moving stuff, and all like lazy tile decides where the things go, what happened when you click stuff. It's all completely abstracted away from the UI. This is completely independent of the UI. So what that means is, oh sorry, I always forget to hide the iPad. So when you have this, and you can move around, you can resize and all stuff like this. This is all basically stored in a view model layer. It's not quite a view model, but it sort of is. It's a layout engine where all the events are abstracted away from the UI, all the layout is abstracted away, and what this view thing does is it gets layout pages back, which give all the information needed for where do I position something, what do I have visible in terms of views and stuff like that. Do I have the title bar visible and stuff like that. Now, what that allows me to do is, first off, I have near 100% test coverage of my layout engine. So all this heavily visual stuff of clicking and moving stuff around, I have near full unit test coverage of that. That is fantastic. I can have full automated tests of everything on this. The other useful thing is that this view stuff here can be swapped out, and I've already done that. So if I bring up this, okay, saying that the quick look extension is not found. I'll have to fix that. But basically, for quick look, when that shows up, it basically, I'm using the same layout engine, I'm reading the document, throwing it in the layout engine, but rather than showing a view, I'm just rendering it to an image directly. I'm drawing an image based upon the same information used to lay out this view. I could also potentially take it, bring it to, for example, iPad, and rewrite the view side of it in UIKit. It's one of the things that you'd think, oh, bringing Coppice to the iPad, this whole system here, this is all going to be like the most complicated thing to bring across. But it's actually probably going to be the most simple bit, because I can just bring it across and write a fresh UI. Ironically, the most complex thing is probably going to be the thing that took me the least time to implement on the Mac, which is the text editing, because the text editing is so powerful on the Mac, and a lot of that stuff is not on iPad. So I may need to do a lot more work there. So it's like one of the simplest bits of the Mac is probably going to be the hardest bit to transition, whereas the most custom bit is probably going to be one of the easier bits to transition. So MVVM has lots of benefits. There are many other patterns out there, but I haven't massively looked into them. There's like systems that use presenters, and then you get things like Viper, which is what view something presenter. There are all sorts of different ones out there that try doing all sorts of different things, but essentially they are all the same thing. It's you've got a view, you've got a model, and then the difference is what you stick in between. What is doing all of the actual logic? Because models are generally store some data, validate that data. That is it. Views are display some data and send actions when data is edited. But actually getting the two to talk to each other is where 90% of programming is. So that is why there are so many different ways of doing it, and there is no right or wrong pattern. It's all about what works best for you for what you are doing with the particular frameworks you're using. So hopefully that's helped out and given you some information about how architecture works. So And Kieran, it's not quite a function. I mean, these are the functions. It's up the architectural side of things. So it's like the different layers that you build upon. So you'd have a view function that calls into the view model function to play. And then this calls into, we've got another view model for the whole window, which is here. And then that may call into the actual model. Or here it calls directly into the model to delete. So you generally have different layers and you're going up and down the layers. And then some layers will go side to side, like the view model talking to another view model. So that's basically how it's all structured in terms of getting everything in the right layer. Yeah, protocols help make changing the UI framework easier. Having basic types, like I've got this sourceless node, which is just a class, and it has basic things such as it returns a title, it returns an image, parent and children, pasteboard writer for when you need to do drag and drop, and then things such as can you drop onto this? Well, can you drop other objects on? Can you drop yours? Come from C# on Google and tells you they're similar to interface. Yes. So here's a little bit of history. So protocols in Swift, they're called protocols because they're inspired to some degree by protocols in Objective-C. Now, Objective-C was actually the first language to have the concept of a protocol or an interface, that sort of thing. Like you had headers and stuff like that, but to have a concrete like protocol that you can define, Objective-C was the first. Java took inspiration from Objective-C protocols for its interfaces, and then C# took inspiration from Java's interfaces for its interfaces. So like interfaces in C# actually have a history in Objective-C, which is actually what a lot of the Cocoa frameworks are built in still, and it's what Swift has all the interoperability with. So Objective-C was, I mean, I still think it's a great framework. It has a lot of great language. It has a lot of power. It also has a lot of flaws, but it's a very simple language. And it was basically just, the question was, okay, how do we make C work like Smalltalk? And it's a very, very dynamic object-oriented language. Like it is very much in the purest sense of object-oriented, where you have objects that are very much, the class doesn't matter as much as the object, and the objects can change at runtime. You get some really cool stuff. So let me bring the iPad up, because this is one of my favorite Objective-C things. So let's just clear this. So there's something in Objective-C called key value observing. And what key value observing does is, let's say you have a class, it has a property name. What key value observing allows you to do is say do self dot add observer. Oh no, it would be this object. Let's move this below. Object dot add observer, and then it would be self, and I think it's for key path. What you would do in Objective-C is at string, because string Objective-C strings need an at name. Now you can do this in Swift as well, and there are even easier APIs now. But you do that, and then there's a few more things down here to do. But what that's basically doing is, on this object, you're adding an observer yourself to the key path name. So whenever name changes, it will fire off a notification. Okay, so many languages have that. Why is this cool? Well, it's how Objective-C does this, because you could implement name yourself manually, and you could, using the Objective-C syntax, just say ID, because it's typing out the full name, curly brackets, turn, and then let's say you've got an underscore name as the actual property. And then you'd have void set name, the name, and then you do name equals name. Now you're probably doing like additional checks and stuff in here and so on, but the point is that this can effectively be as simple as the code is. Yet you can observe that. How? There's no code here telling you that this has changed, and it's not going to be looking at the actual property name. So, how does it do it? So you've got an object here. So let's say this is of class foo. Now, in Objective-C, this is just an object, and it isn't technically of class foo. It is an object that has some data and has some functions, but the key thing it has an ISA pointer, or an is-a pointer. I've never known which way it does it. Because up here you have another object, and this object is foo. This is the class. Classes are objects in Objective-C. And the is-a pointer points to that. So this object is of type foo. And this is just a pointer. So this is just some data and stuff down here. But the key thing is, this pointer can be changed. If you are in something like C++ or C# or something like that, generally, if you instantiate a class as an object, you cannot change that object's class at a later date. At least not easily, and it's not something that's regularly done. Objective-C, you can do that quite easily. Now, there are some things that you've got to take into account. The class defines what the data actually represents, so you've got to make sure it lines up and so on. So there are some limitations, but one thing you can do is something called dynamic subclassing. So when you actually do that self-add observer for the first time, what it basically does is, say foo has defined that there is a name property on here, it creates, I can't remember the exact name, but let's call it KVO foo. It creates a subclass at runtime. Its subclass is foo. It then overrides name to add like a KVO. Well, it does name, but it does its own thing where it adds the wrapping stuff to do the KVO stuff, and then what it does is it takes this object and repoints the ISA to the KVO foo. So when your app is running, you have a live object. It creates a subclass and points this. So this is no longer an instance of foo, it's an instance of KVO foo, which is a subclass of foo. Isn't that cool? It allows you to dynamically override stuff at runtime. Now, there may be other instances out there of foo, but if you aren't observing them, they're still pointing to foo. But what it will then do is, if you have another thing of foo, then when you start observing, rather than creating another KVO foo, it will actually point it to that. But that's a super cool way of basically being able to do these dynamic things, adding this functionality in at runtime. And there's so many other cool things that happen. I mean, swizzling is a rather fun one where you basically swap out the implementation of a method at runtime and so on. So there's so much dynamic stuff that you can do. All the message passing stuff is great, where rather than saying okay, foo response, like if you wanted to do, like, say you've got an object of type foo and you want to call name. If I do that in Swift, generally, if I do that, or C# or Java, generally, if object does not implement name, that will give me a compiler error. Not in Objective-C. However, it may do. You can actually tell object call name on yourself, even if object does not actually implement name. So why? Why on earth would you do that? Well, let's go back and have a look at... Well, actually no, I can draw it here. So let's clear this. So, I have a menu. And the menu has an undo. Actually no, let's do something better. Let's do copy. So, let's say I have a view here. Now this view, if you are editing in it, it is something called the first responder. And what that means is that if you have a menu item and set its action to be the method's call, in this case it will be copy, and you set its target, normally you can target to a specific object, but if you set it to nil, that basically says call the first responder. But the thing is, you're saying call the first responder. Well, the first responder could be an NS text view, it could be an NS view, it could be anything that is a responder. How do you know that it responds to copy? It may do, it may not. So it goes in here and it says, okay, does this object respond to copy? If it does, great, it does copy. But then it goes to the next thing in the responder chain. You basically chain these responders together. And this is probably the super view, so the view containing whatever view this is. Does that know copy? No? Okay, well go to the next one, which may be another super view. Does that know copy? Nope. And it keeps going, and maybe eventually you get to the view controller, then you get to the window controller, then you get to the window, then you get to the actual app delegate at the root of it all. And if at some point during that chain one of them actually does respond to this, then great, it implements it, like it calls it. But you can also go through and check through this chain, does it respond to copy? And if nothing responds to the copy action, then it can know, okay, nothing in this chain responds to copy, so therefore it can grey this out. And that is how you get, on the Mac, menu items that are greyed out and become visible as you change selection. You don't have to manually go and tell it that. It's just saying, okay, this is a particular, I want to call this method on some object, don't care what object, just any object that responds to it based on what is selected in the UI, and it will go and find it. And that is all because it does message passing, where you, rather than calling a method, you pass a message, and those messages can be forwarded on. So it's sort of the purest form of object-oriented programming, where the classes don't matter, the objects don't matter, it's the messages that pass around, and resolving those messages to actual methods, to actual code, happens at runtime. Now, it has performance issues because you can't do as much optimization, you can't do compiler checks because, as I say, if an object does not implement a method, it is still valid to pass that message to it. Whereas in more strict languages, it's not. But but it allows a lot of power, a lot of flexibility that is a lot harder to do in other languages. So it's like lots of pros and cons. But I mean, in a sense, object-oriented programming, I mean, almost the purest object-oriented system out there is probably the web, the internet, because it is a lot of self-contained things that are passing messages back and forth, and they don't know whether a particular item will be able to respond to that message. Instead, it passes it on, says, but this might be able to respond to it, so it passes it on to there. So, like, how the internet currently works is really like very pure object-oriented design. It's an object-oriented system, really. But yeah, hopefully that was interesting. Even though I'm not using Objective-C now, and even though I prefer Swift overall, I still am very passionate about Objective-C and how some of the cool things it does. And there are other languages that do this. Like I said, it's based off Smalltalk. Smalltalk was the first one that really did this truly powerful, super flexible, message-sending, late-binding, object-oriented programming. And it's where object-oriented programming came from, because Smalltalk was created by Alan Kay and various others who basically defined what object-oriented programming is. Now, languages like C++ and so on took some elements of that. They took sort of the class elements of that, which were useful, but sort of like not the exact parts of programming that were of object-oriented programming that were very object-oriented. It's almost like class-oriented programming, but they have their benefits. But there are other languages. Objective-C was basically bring Smalltalk into C so that they can work together, because Smalltalk was very slow, whereas Objective-C is much faster. Objective-C, there is a function in Objective-C. All of this stuff about message passing all goes through Objective-C message send. And Objective-C message send is quite possibly one of the most optimized functions in the history of the computer industry. Why? Because every single call in Objective-C, or almost every single call, goes through it. There are some ways to work around it and call stuff directly if you really want performance, but almost all of them go through Objective-C message send. And like I say, all of Apple's frameworks are in Objective-C message send. When you press a button on an iPhone, that is an Objective-C call that is being sent. Even if the app is written in Swift, it is all Objective-C. There is so much Objective-C stuff out there. So it is like completely written, handwritten in assembly to be as optimized as possible and be as fast as possible. Because if you can shave like a few milliseconds even off the execution of Objective-C message send collectively over every single Apple device out there, you are saving like effectively days, weeks, months worth of time, because those milliseconds add up to thousands of calls in a single app, which add up to all of the iPhones and iPads and Macs and watches and everything out there. So it's quite cool seeing some of the stuff there. So yeah, I'm very passionate about Objective-C. It's a great language with great history. I mean, it was talking about the web being object-oriented. Objective-C and the Core frameworks, effectively the frameworks I'm using now, just an older version of it, they were used by Tim Berners-Lee to build the first web browser and web server back in the late 80s, early 90s at CERN. So many of the same frameworks I'm using, albeit much older versions of them, were responsible for the web. I think, can't remember if it was Macromedia Freehand was originally written in it. The other key things, the level editors for Doom and Quake, they were written in Objective-C and what were then called the Next Step APIs, now the Cocoa APIs. They were written doing that, and that allowed them to rapidly prototype and build all the levels, the original Doom and Quake and so on. So there's a lot of cool stuff that has been created in them. Okay, so all that's out the way. Where were we? Oh yes, we just created our scenes and our view models. So we have our stream. What we want to do is I'm going to a label, enter it, call this copy that, yeah, go back. I've just realised I was muted then. I was talking about how good dark mode is, how wonderful it is. Now it is, I can have something like a nice dark UI with some light text in it. It's just so much easier on my eyes. Yeah, I need to fix the script. In fact, let's have a look here. Because the script doesn't fully kick in. If I reload it, okay, that is now working. So now if I mute, okay, so the icon now appears. It doesn't seem to pick up that, like, I need to remember to reload it every time I start OBS because it doesn't always pick up the actual sources that it needs to. Right. So, what size is that text? 18 point. So let's make this 18. Okay, fantastic. We want basically entering container. Oh, those are all new icons as well. Really redone all the icons in Xcode. Make that 8 points. Now this wants to be horizontally centered and vertically centered in the container. We only want 2 values, and this is going to be scene and playback play. Now, there we are, rounded rect. That's what I want for this. And then this here is 0, 0, 0, 0. And voila, it is all positioned. So if I now build and run, I know what's gone wrong. How did I do that for the playback queue? That is it's actually so that you could constrain to so I'm going to have to take this top constraint, remove it at build time, and then what I'm going to need is of set outlet box, and once this is set, so let's not. Yeah, soft toolbar box dot top anchor constraint 12 dot safe area layout guide up anchor. No. Yeah, so -1. Active. So because our content area goes all the way up to the top, it goes behind the toolbar. So we need to use the safe area insets, which actually gives us whatever size the toolbar is. So, fantastically, we now have that. So what we need to do next is when we change between these, it will swap out stuff down there. But first, I am going to take a short break, and when we get back, yeah, we will get all of this hooked up. So I will see you all in a few minutes. Okay, I am back, so let's get back into this. So, we have scenes, playback display. So, toggling between these shouldn't be too difficult. What we can... Okay. Tab view controller. Right. So, can I do this? Well, so in here, what a tab view is oh. This sort of thing is a tab view where you have your tabs at the top and you can switch between them. And what a tab view controller is it lets me shove a bunch of view controllers in and it will handle swapping out UI for you. You just have to provide it tab view. So I'll okay, so the tab view changes to a laser bar. Tab view. Tab view. Oh. I'll oh. Dial. Fired. That we have a lazy var controller. And that oh, that's a point. That needs 12 class model. That then model. Back. Color. What we want. Self.add child self.tab view color. And self.tab view color dot tab view writer color. Yeah, so we just up that tab view, delete this code. Tablet. That. Oh. Ah, no. Bind this. I have to do some manual binding. Because should be able to do self.tab segmented control dot bind binding all selected to self.tab view. No, not tab view. Tab view controller path. Are we? Selected tab. Okay, so let's build and run. Bottom. Hey. Have a look at. Oh, we've got tab view. Wait, you see. So that, why is it? Graphic time 1000 file loaded as delegate of its map. Happy. Hi. Okay, so we got sim. That should be bound. Oh yes. hilarious. A few. You have to access the got to I'm going to change things away, and I'm just custom. Right. Self dot tab and add subview controller dot view. What they contain? Tab view. That's the that fixed. It does. Okay, I guess that's the approach we're taking then. That looks good. Oh. Seven. Search for the stream. Okay. So for the scenes view, we're going to want a selection. Collection viewer. Go on to the collection view item. Go. Hey. I need to remember how. Collection. It's and plus. Collection. Oh. Register. section. Let's 5. Yeah, we're 12 dot. Right then. Right point. Alright, blessing. Alright, build and run. Hopefully this should display 5 valid nib for identifier and 1. Why does it selection? Oh, right. Selection. There we go. So we're going to have to play around with that, but we have some stuff appearing. Now, we're going to have to make it so that we can actually add the scenes and then format the scenes and then edit the scenes, but we will work on that tomorrow. So what we're going to do now is switch off and do some Unity stuff because my brain is a little bit short on working through all this, but we made some good progress. We've got all of this stuff hooked up and working, so we'll work on that tomorrow. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, I'm going to be switching up the stream schedule, so rather than streaming alternate Friday, Saturday, because I have some weeks when I'm doing 4 days contracting, some days 3, and it's always the Friday that switches. Fridays are just going to be an off day for me, so I can get stuff done around the house, stuff done outside, and various other bits and bobs. And then I'm going to try streaming Saturday, Sunday, and Monday every week, on top of the Wednesday evening stream. And the reason for that is that I want a 3-day block where I am just working on my own stuff, so that I can get into a swing of things. And it's like tomorrow I know, okay, I'm going to come down, let's start the stream, get working on this, and get it displaying the various things, rather than, as would normally be the case, waiting until Monday and having a day off then. So it does mean that I'm not having that a proper day off some weeks, but the others I'm getting a full day off where I don't have to worry about streaming or worry that I'm not doing stuff, and I can just get into a nice groove of things. I still have the mornings and evenings off to get other stuff done over the weekend. So, and it may be occasionally that I will drop, for example, drop a Saturday stream and just do the Sunday, Monday. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do in future. So I will be streaming tomorrow. Yeah. But let's go in and update the schedule. So I forget. Oh, that's Twitter, not Twitch. Oh, not in the dashboard. There it is. Don't I? Ah, there we go. Right, schedule. So it's going up there. So edit it. On Monday, I'm going to change that 1 PM, 4 hours. Normally we'll probably go close to 6 because I'll probably end up doing some stream stuff afterwards, but that there. Wednesday we will leave as is. Saturday from PM 3 hours. That will Streamline Development. The stream categories software development. PM for 3 hours. That's it. Every day. Now we are. That gives us our new schedule. Panel. Hey. $8 PM. Oh. Let's go. So there we go. New schedule is in. Oh, while we're doing stuff like this. Right. Well, let's give this a go. I do playlist. Format that. That looks a bit better. So it's been wanted to add, so people can just do playlist and it will list all the artists in the playlist with where I get the stuff from. So that is fairly useful. I mean, do we want any more commands? I've got one that shouts out Coppice, one for the YouTube, for Twitter, GitHub. I've got a shout out command. So that's just for me. Oh no, that's set to moderate, so you can do that as well, Sinister. Yeah, there's just a few basic things, so. Right, now those are done. Let's up Blender. Get. I have not by that vertex. Hey. So. Try. That. Off X-ray. So, the left wall. Oh, sorry, the right wall. Well, I mean, the issue with these ones on the side is, as you can see, this vertex is going to this point, and this vertex is going to this point. So what I actually need... Got that. Subdivide. Okay, goodbye, Kieran. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And like I say, I will be streaming tomorrow, so hopefully tomorrow you can come join us then. What's a way to slide a vertex along? Shift. There we are. Oh, actually, double tap G only lets you slide along an edge but not go beyond it. Shift V. I thought. Oh, is it holding? Yeah, it's holding up. Sorry, I got that mixed up. Got to hold option to go beyond the edge. Right. So what I want, probably, is for all of this wants to line up, so I just pick point. Let's pick that point, and that is RX. Let's set it at 4.07. I want that and that. Most annoying thing, right? It does averages and you just want it to be fixed. Right, select a group of vertices and set them all to the correct thing. I mean, you can zero them out, but that's Okay, so this edge here. There. Then oh. Hey. Don't care about that. I think hey. That is what? Hey. That should be it. So that one. Slide along the edge. Okay, so I want. So I want. Yeah. Normal. Dead. 5. Okay. That. Okay, so we've got round buttons, square buttons, we've got switches. What could we fill in this? Because what I'm imagining, there they are. So this is roughly what I have for the console. So you have your flight stuff in the middle. You're going to have a nav area. So this is really the nav area here. You're going to want some fence stuff here. What I might do is these ones at the side, I might be tempted to almost turn them into like a storage thing. So you've got your cockpit here, and these just become sorts of storage areas. So I'll probably cut them down so that you've got like almost like a desk area where you can put stuff down. Because one thing I want to do, I'm totally stealing it from Gwilym, is to model lots of different streamers. So Doigan Swift, I'd want to do Gwilym, like basically all the streamers that I enjoy and watch and get inspired by. Like make little plush versions to throw on and steal that from Gwilym. And oh, self-destruct button. Maybe that could go there. So we could have self-destruct there. This is sort of your nav computer. You've got like your engine power, steering. This is like your heads-up display. A few bits and pieces there. And then this can sort of be split into sort of defense and like this. Oh yeah, it helps if I show my thing. So this area here could be the that could be the self-destruct. So in this area here, and this can be a few bits of like engineering, like charts and displays, and then over here there can be like a screen probably similar to this and have like a joystick there for shooting and stuff. Because that would be quite cool if I could turn that into some sort of mini game where I can go in and do like a shooting thing. Maybe I'm flying and chat shooting stuff at me and I've got to get as far past as possible. It's like a mini game built in. That would be quite fun. But yeah, let's so these are just going to be cubbies, because I reckon one of them can be sort of like a plush shelf where I throw like the plushies and stuff like that in there. I don't know what but it's just I don't want to put too many controls. This is a very big thing and I like to think about what they are used for. So I mean, this is the communication, so these things here are going to be speakers and you're going to have stuff there. So yeah, I think self-destruct there, a few engineering panels, and I'm going to have a big screen with some switches, buttons and a joystick. So let's just do some. So here I copy that over to there. I can't remember what. So, oh, that is going to make this so much. Why was I always doing this global before? This is going to be so much easier. Learn all the time. There. Ah. And this way is true. And so Align tool. Alignation. Down. Okay. Okay, so that will do some engineering stuff. And here. Select that. Hey. Oh. Right. Now, to joystick. But first, let's so this here. Feeling. Okay. What I want. This. What? The X and Y. Yeah, the X and Y I want. that. Got a nice little shelf space in there. Same over here. One of these two is going to be the push shelf. I don't know what the other's going to be. I mean, maybe they both will be. But again, extra scale 9. Base, got that edge. Right. Oh. Okay. Got 2 push shelves, so all we need now is a joystick and a self-destruct button. So the joystick will be fairly simple. Ah. Oh shit. Hold on. And then we just extra space. Kill it. 7. Up. Hit. Kill. Oh, I hate it when I do that. Edit mode. Like that. Go. Do you do that all the time, Sinister? You're in edit mode and you add some more meshes and you're not realise that you're in edit mode and you want it to be a separate object. Have to that. I mean, this is an awful lot of objects, so I'm not sure if I might try and, because like that is one mesh, but each of these are separate meshes. Those are like the frames around all the switches are separate meshes for the actual switch. So like the buttons, you got the button as a mesh and that as a mesh. So I just leave proportional editing off. I've very rarely used proportional editing, so. Right, go. So that's just going to be, got a joystick with the right hand and the left hand, have buttons. Press that. Nice diagonal for you. Okay, so that is going to be that. So last thing we want to do, self-destruct. You need to take a break from your model. Can't tell if it looks decent or the worst thing that's ever created. It will always be, if it's like that, it's always somewhere in between, and you just need a break to make it look even more decent. Right. Let us go. Okay, one. Then what we want is a box over it. That. Actually, glass cage. That out. That. On my 6. There we go. there. There we go. So we've got flying, a little bit of engineering stuff there. Weapons stuff. Self-destruct. I may end up moving some of this weapon stuff further along here and just extract that out. So yeah. Self-destruct should be 1,000 point redeem. I think for that I would need it to actually properly self-destruct and come up with like an outside view that actually blows the ship up. So yeah, we also need to do some actual texturing because all that new stuff isn't there, because I want to actually do like actual textures for all of the displays and everything. But yeah, I think having this as a separate Blender file makes this a lot easier, because I can import it as a separate thing and it just keeps stuff simple, because this is by far one of the more complex things that I've added. So but yeah, so I need to go because I want to try and watch the Formula 1 before I need to head out with some family later. So I think I just go. Oh, I must have been wrong. Oh, anyway, so we will call the stream there then. I thought I saw someone who come on to raid, but I guess not. But yes, we will call the stream there. And thank you all for coming. It has been a wonderful stream. We've got an awful lot done. We have all of, well, that done, which hopefully will be installed at some point. Maybe we'll get to that tomorrow. And yeah, we will slowly work through all this, fix a bunch of models and get all this painted. But yeah, and tomorrow with Streamline we'll get to working on the collection view and actually getting all the scene stuff done. So this has been a pretty successful thing, if I don't say so myself. And yeah, we'll see how this new stream schedule works. So as always, have a good rest of your day until we meet again tomorrow at the same time. Good rest of your weekend and happy coding.